the kind of wear it tight. Button up from 9 to 5. I tried that life but said goodbye. I'm not always polite, but I get the job done. Who says the world can never be fun? I'm simply unprofessional. Simply unprofessional. Yeah. Yeah. I'm unprofessional.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Simply Unprofessional. I'm your host, Webby. Joining me tonight, we got Rob.
Hey guys, it's Rob.
And we got Devin.
What's up, people? How y'all doing?
And we got special guest Donnie / Guy Fieri.
Hello.
Donnie, you don't even remember us calling you Guy Fieri, do you?
I was waiting for it.
Yeah. I don't remember.
I forgot the name. I just knew there was a name coming.
I don't remember why we did it.
No, didn't we call Anthony Guy Fieri?
No, it was Donnie.
No,
We
Donnie.
called Anthony Hollywood. We
Hollywood.
go, Hollywood.
That's what it was.
I am not alone.
No, I know. I remember exactly why he got called Guy Fieri.
'Cause he
He got
was
called
late.
Guy Fieri. Well, no, because he kept saying he was going to show up and do an SU with us, and then like 3 times in a row, he'd be like, he wouldn't show up on the day of SU. We're like, damn it, Donnie, Guy Fieri.
These things were scheduled? I don't know. I don't know.
And
Did
then
you get
it was
with my
legitimately-
assistant?
And then it was like one of those things where it was like, I want to call him Guy Fieri because like everybody hates Guy Fieri, but really there's no reason to hate Guy Fieri. Like he
Sure.
did nothing wrong.
It's true. It's his dumbass California hair.
Like he did nothing wrong, and but everybody hates him anyway. So I was like, Donnie really did nothing wrong, but we're just gonna act like we hate him. So I'm just call him Guy Fieri,
Yeah.
and thus
All
the
right.
nickname was.
So yeah, this week it's not just me. There's extra people.
There is extra people. Yeah, so last week Rob recorded a little SU episode of himself. It was, I think it was just under 3 minutes long.
Yeah.
And that was including intro and outro music.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, all right. Yeah, so it's, it was on par. Last week we did not do an SU. We had a guest with Donnie, actually, an impromptu flight up to New Hampshire and stayed with myself and Rob.
Yep.
And we just kind of hung out for the week. And then, go figure, once Donnie left, the week after, everything just kind of got dumped. And this week just feels like there's not enough time in the week to do anything.
I have things scheduled every day, like multiple things.
Yeah. So, I don't know. If that's the case, Donnie, come back. So
We also
So-
promised 2 SUs this week. So.
yeah, I know. I mean, that one.
So hear me out,
was-
guys. Hear me out.
We'll cut it short right here and then pick it right back up. 2 SUs. I'm hearing you out.
I mean,
What's up?
heck, I was gonna say, if I want to go to New Orleans next year, like March, if that falls through, which I have a feeling it will anyway, I'm taking the time regardless. I'm coming to see you guys.
Door's open. We just put a new lock on it, but it's still unlocked.
10 out of 10 would go again.
So you're always
Definitely.
welcome here, Devin.
So what you're saying is you guys don't trust Donnie for shit because as soon as you left, you changed the locks.
Oh, we changed the locks while
They
he was
changed
here.
them before I even left. They did it in front of me.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
That's
Well,
because
see-
I woke up 3 separate times. They were both asleep or in the other room with the door
So-
closed, and Rob's dog had opened the front door.
so listen. Here's the thing, Rob. At this point, everybody knows Rob moved up from Connecticut. He moved in with me.
Mm.
Now, I have had a way of life my whole life. I'm 37 now. My whole life has been this way. My front door to this house has never been locked. Even when I lived alone, or like if when my dad lived with me or whatever, and we went into town, no matter what, wherever I went, I never locked the door. Door's wide open. Fuck it.
Which
I don't.
seemed crazy to me when I got here. I was like, what
And
the
then,
fuck?
like, my car keys, normally, right now they're on my desk, but my car keys, my car would be in the driveway. I would leave my car keys right in the cup holder. Whatever. Nobody ever bothered any of us my whole life. So all of a sudden now, Rob, we would go into town or whatever, and we would leave Matilda here, and he got really nervous. So I went out and I thought I had a key for the front door, but I couldn't find it. So I just went to Home Depot, got a whole new fucking front door knob, and changed the locks. And now we have a locked door for when we want to go into town. I'm an adult now, everyone.
Mostly because I was afraid that somebody would just come in and let Matilda loose, because she'd come looking for me, like, "Where is Daddy?" and run out the door, because people were coming and going all the time.
Yeah.
Which, because I got okay with leaving because I just locked my bedroom door at night. If murder came in, my bedroom door is at least locked. But
Rob, a murderer could walk through our door at noon. You could be sitting at your computer and you'd be dead when I woke up.
Listen, I know. But anyway, I was worried that, like, his sister or somebody might come in and, like, accidentally let her just out, because she'd go looking for me, like, "Where's Daddy?" So I was like, I want to lock the door at least when she's by herself here. So that's why he used the locks for me.
Yeah. Other than that, the door's always open still. I mean, even with the new locks, it's not locked.
I feel like Webby discovering like a lock. It's like, wait, I can lock the door and keep my family out that I don't want in.
Oh, that's gonna be something else that I want to talk to you about, Devin, because we need to catch up.
Yeah.
It was not something that I wanted to happen while Donnie was here. Okay, so let me get right into this. At the beginning of the week when Donnie showed up, my mom sent me a message. She came here and she's like, "Oh, you should sell the Chevy. I'm going to give you the Ford. Sell the Chevy, blah, blah, blah." I was like, "I don't want to sell the Chevy. I really don't want to talk about any of this shit right now. Not when I have company here."
You don't want a Ford.
Well, I don't want... I mean, the Ford's full of problems. But in any case, I essentially told her, I was like, "Hey, just wait until after Donnie's gone. I'll talk to you. Then you can stress me out with all this talk." Okay? She's like, okay. I didn't mean to stress you out, blah, blah, blah. Then my sister messages me. She's like, "I'll give you $500 for the Chevy. I heard you're selling it." I was like, "I'm not selling it, first off. And second, if I was, what makes you think I would sell it to you for $500? I could get at least $1,300 for it. Easy." Okay?
Right.
Well, that happened at the beginning of the week. Middle of the week, like literally 2 days later, maybe. Okay, so I'm kind of already stressed out about being bothered by all this. And, Donnie and Rob, they're trying to keep my mind occupied and trying to make me not stress out. My mom comes here, she's crying. Right? She's exasperated. She doesn't know what to do. My sister went on Facebook and fucking blasted her on Facebook. Right? Now, mind you, my sister, before Donnie came to visit, has been staying on my couch. Okay? So she could use the shower in the morning, go to her job, because somebody down the road picks her up and they go to the same job. She was supposed to be staying out in the camper, but she's been staying in the house. Even when Donnie was here, she was staying out in the camper, coming into the house, using the shower, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know the history between me and my sister, Devin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And for the longest time, a few of my friends, I'll say that, one of my closest friends being Clay, has always tried to give me advice. I've always vented on him about my family. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But I've always taken all of their advice, because their advice has always just been fucking kick her ass out, be done with it. But when my dad was alive, I just wanted to just make peace just for my dad's sake. My dad didn't want us fighting. My dad didn't, he wanted everybody to just kind of get along. And I was just like, okay, and I told my mom this when my dad was still alive. I was like, my patience is only extended because it's for Dad. That's it. When Dad passes, because we were all kind of preparing ourselves for that, my patience is going to run out. Now, Dad passed in February. Okay. Carrie
Mhm.
blasted my mom on Facebook. Drove my mom to tears. That was the last straw. And I messaged Carrie. I said, I threw your shit out on the front lawn. When you're out of work, pick it up, get out. You're not welcome here anymore. I don't want to see you anymore. Plain and simple. I actually gave her an ultimatum. I said, I will forgive and forget everything if you publicly apologize to my mother and personally apologize to my mother for what you said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
her,
I mentioned that to him, and
her
because I was like,
is just make sure I get the shit in the shower or whatever the fuck. I was like, whatever.
yeah, because he had who the person that owns the trailer coming to get it, and I was like, what if your sister does apologize? What are you going to do then? He's like, she's never going to apologize.
No, she won't. So, Devin, I finally kicked my sister to the curb.
Hey, good for you. Proud of you.
I was stressed out. I was really kind of up in arms that whole day. Again, it was something I apologized to both Rob and Donnie. It was not something I wanted you guys to witness firsthand. But I used to go through that same exact thing almost on a every other day basis with her. And no, I'm done. And for everybody out there who's listening, just know, because I do know some of my other family members listen to SU, just know I have zero patience at all, ever again. And if you think I need somebody in my life, or if you think I need you in my life, you might want to reevaluate that. So,
yeah.
Everybody I need is right here in this call right now. And my mom. That's it.
Yeah, his mom read us some of the things she wrote, and they were pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't great. I try to keep my nose out of it, but...
Yeah.
Webby, I know you're a fan. I've seen the show. I am a fan of the show, but I'm not like the biggest fan of the show in the world. Like, I'm not going to break my neck over this, but apparently Dexter...
I thank Devin for changing the subject on us.
Yep. I think Dexter is coming back to Showtime in 2021. It's getting a 10-episode limited series.
Really?
Yes.
Well, it's only 10 episodes, though.
It's a limited series.
I love Dexter.
You're getting 10 episodes of Dexter back.
Yeah, well, they're probably going to do the 10-episode thing so they can kill him off or whatever because nobody liked the way it ended, apparently. I didn't mind the way it ended. For those of you who haven't seen Dexter...
I haven't watched any of it because somebody told me the end of the show before I ever started it. So
that was not me.
I don't remember who it was.
Well, to be fair, Donnie, now you can watch it because there's 10 episodes that are really going to be another ending to the show that you now won't be spoiled on.
Yeah.
There's a couple other pretty large spoilers. I should probably go start watching it. Everybody loves it. It also took me like 3 years after the series was over to watch Breaking Bad, and it's one of my favorite shows I've ever watched.
Never seen it. I've seen the first 7 episodes 3 times now.
That's so weird to me that they're doing that. But that's another thing, I guess, that it's just them not caring about. Hold on 1 second. I'm just verifying something. Yeah, okay. Them not caring about the Netflix Marvel shows, because they're remaking Blade, right? It's currently in pre-production. The person that's going to be playing Blade is the guy that played Cottonmouth in Luke Cage.
Okay.
Which is fine, but it's just it's weird.
Well,
it's funny to me that they're just.
I heard Disney Plus is either considering or they are going to be bringing back the Punisher using the same guy from the Netflix show.
Yeah.
So.
I always said the Punisher, just off appearance, the Punisher should be either that him, him, or even Frank Grillo Frank Grillo to me looks like the Punisher too.
Yeah.
Speaking of Frank Grillo, we have to watch that movie. I've seen that movie. It's a pretty good movie.
What movie?
It's on Hulu. Frank Grillo movies. Hold on, I'll tell you in a second. What is it called again? Boss Level.
Oh yeah. You did mention that to me.
Yeah, Boss Level is pretty solid. Pretty solid movie. It's like it's like not like but I mean it's actually a pretty interesting movie. It was pretty fun to watch. It was a fun watch. They're bringing back Gossip Girl apparently. Hey, they're making a Cowboy Bebop live action. All right.
I didn't like the cartoon.
I mean,
that was one of the few animes that you had recommended that I just really did not care for. Purely, I want to say it was purely because of the animation style. I didn't get into it.
It wasn't slightly older animation style, but
yeah, but I liked Berserk.
Yeah, but Berserk you also like had like high points in like the fantasy aspect. So like you kind of
he in the very first episode he fought a giant vagina monster.
Yeah.
Donnie, we should watch the first episode of Berserk.
Berserk?
Yeah.
What is this?
It's an anime. It's kind of like D&D-esque. But
You'll like Berserk.
He fights a giant vagina monster at the end.
My only conflicting things with Berserk is the best version of Berserk includes like to watch the full thing. You have to watch the new like Netflix shows, but they did the whole thing in that stupid like rotoscope 3D animation style, and I fucking hate it.
No, you gotta watch the old school Berserk.
No, the old school one, but I'm saying the Netflix one actually continues the story.
Oh.
So if you want like the whole story, you gotta watch the Netflix like movies shit too. But I fucking hate the animation style on the Netflix show, so it's like I hate watching it.
Devin.
But yeah. Webby.
Have you seen Hellsing? Or whatever.
He's the one that had me watch Hellsing Abridged.
Okay.
Yeah.
Donnie had us watch Hellsing Abridged.
They loved it.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Hellsing Abridged is probably the second best abridged anime show.
Let me ask you this.
The first for sure being Dragon Ball Z Abridged.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Devin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hellsing Abridged. Who do you think my top 3 favorite characters are in that show?
That's hard. I haven't watched it. I can't. I'm trying to think of like some of like the one-liners and shit that people would say. Oh man, it's hard. Yeah, I don't know.
They were arguably 3 of them. They were all 3 technically major characters.
Well,
one of
if the intro song was a person, it would be one of them.
Well,
all 3 of us were singing the intro song over the course of my week there.
Yeah, I don't know. Just go for it, Webb. Tell me.
I mean, Alucard is one of them, just purely for his one-liners.
Yeah, I mean, he has those. He has those in the actual show too.
Yeah. Big Titty Police Girl.
Oh, Saris? Okay.
No, Big Titty Police Girl.
She doesn't have a name.
Bitches love cannons. Okay, that's all that matters.
Say my name.
And the third person, I don't remember his name, but he was the priest guy that always kept trying to hunt down Alucard. Alexander, yeah.
Yep, there you go. Okay.
The crazy Irish priest dude.
Yep.
I liked him.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
But yeah, we watched that. Rob's been watching Rising of the Shield Hero and
Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer's really dope. Shield Hero's dope.
I like them both.
I'm only up as far as Demon Slayer. We're only up.
I can't watch them by myself anymore.
He's caught up. I'm caught up in like 3 days.
Yeah, we're only as far as like the Spider Forest thing, I think. In Demon Slayer.
Mm-hmm.
Shield Hero, you can watch whenever you want, Rob. I mean, I'll watch it with you, but I mean, I've already watched the whole thing.
Yeah, but it's only on Funimation, which is only on the TV in the living room.
Yeah, there's nothing that says you can't watch TV in the living room when I'm not in there.
True, I guess.
Until one day when you come out and the TV's back in my room.
Well, there's that too.
Like, also,
the...
I don't know.
Also, the... been rewatching Teen Wolf with Webby.
Yeah.
And we watched one episode without Donnie, and he screamed at us, so now we won't watch anymore without him.
Yeah, now we're afraid.
Oh, I screamed too. I certainly did. I won't deny that.
There's a certain part coming up. One that I've been looking forward to watching.
There's one part of the whole show I wanted to watch with you all, and I thought y'all watched it without me. It's coming up.
And now I've been watching Sons of Anarchy for the first time.
I forgot that season 4 or season 5. Yeah, I forgot season 5 of My Hero Academia was out. I forgot about that. I've been like off my anime game recently.
Well, I mean, you do have a new job, and it's been bouncing your schedule around. So
right, which I'm just now starting to get used to because like it sucks like having to work second shift. Like I'll come home at 10 o'clock and like fall asleep at like 10:30, and then I'm up at like 6, and then I got to be to work at 2. But it's like it sucks.
I was gonna ask how is it working the 2 to 10 shift, but
I mean I don't mind it. I used to do it all the time, but I just like my body's still adjusting to actually like going to sleep, coming home because there's usually like you know with the 3 kids in the house, it's not like I can like be upstairs like with the TV on like being loud.
Right.
So it's like I usually come in my room and lay in my bed, and then like if I don't hop on my computer or hop on my phone or something, I usually just pass out.
Yeah.
So I usually just pass out like right away, like at like 10:30, 11 o'clock. I'm usually out. So it's fine, but it just kind of sucks because I'll wake up at like 6, 7, and then I'm usually like, well, I'm up at like 7 o'clock now. I'm like, well, that sucks because now I don't have to be to work till 2, but I'm up at 7, which is fine. I get more shit done, but then now like by like 8:30, 9 o'clock, I'm dragging ass at work.
Now, working 2 to 10, what would your ideal like day look like? Essentially, like you come home, you go to bed by what time, to wake up by what time?
Probably by like go to bed by like 2 a.m.
Okay.
Come home at like 10, go to bed by like 2, maybe 3, and be up by like 10.
Okay.
Like 9:30, 10 is probably my ideal because like I got to be to work at. So I try to get to work by no later than like 1:30. Even though I don't have to be to work till 2, I try to get to work later than 1:30. Like usually the latest, I try to get there by like 1:15. So I usually leave the house like 12:40, 12:45.
Now, do you change into like do you keep your uniform and all your gear and everything at work?
No, I just change at the house here. I keep actually uniform in my car, but I just change at my house here. Throw on my uniform and my pants and drive to work. So usually like I hit the freeway. It's like from my house to get to the freeway is like a 4-minute, like a 5-minute drive. And once I hit the freeway, it's just like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's like I get to work in like 20, 25 minutes. It isn't that bad. But so ideally I would get up by like 10, like 9:30, 10 o'clock ideally. Make something to eat, kick around the house for an hour and a half, shower, kick around the house for like an hour and a half, and then start getting ready to go by like 12:15, be ready to go by like the latest 1 o'clock, walking out the door by like 1 in the car driving, and get to work by like 1:25, 1:30, and then kind of be ready to go. That's kind of like my ideal.
No.
But just coming home and falling asleep and then being up by like 6, 7 is like shitty.
Yeah, that's the exact same schedule I used to have. I would do 1 to 9:30 basically.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
But
I used to work 2 to 10 all the time when I used to work at CVS back in the day.
I would be up to like 4 and then get up at like like noon. Get ready to get to work for like 1:30.
Yeah, the only reason why I usually don't I want to wake up earlier than that. Like I could technically get like sleeping like 11:30 and just like immediately get up, immediately like eat food, immediately shower, and then like immediately get dressed and leave. But like I do like kicking around the house a little bit, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like I like having that ability to like kick around the house and kind of like lollygag. Although if I'm being honest, that's kind of my downfall sometimes. Like if I'm gonna be late, it's because I just sat in bed and like did nothing for like a couple hours. As opposed to actually like actively trying to do something. So there's that. But yeah.
Now, Devin, okay, going back to the TV shows and stuff that we've been watching recently too. You said you've watched Teen Wolf before?
Yeah, I've seen all Teen Wolf.
Okay. Same question as Hellsinger Bridge. Who do you think?
He's only up to season 3.
Yeah.
So don't.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Think early seasons. I guess. I didn't even think about that. But who do you think my top 3 favorite characters are?
All right. My
number 1 should be easy.
Styles.
Yes.
Yeah. Number 1 is easy for everybody. Styles is everybody's favorite.
Styles.
Yeah.
I'll say Styles. You seem like a Peter fan.
Who's Peter?
And
oh yeah. Okay. I know. Okay.
You're thinking about me. No.
Yeah. Styles. You seem like a fan of Peter, and I mean Scott's fine, but like in like the grand scheme of things, Scott is very. What's the word I'm looking for?
Vanilla?
Not like, yeah. Like he has like hard main character syndrome, so like it's like easy to like him, but also like him,
it's a lot like Clark from Smallville. It's like you like him as a character, but he doesn't.
But he's nobody. Like, he's nobody's favorite character, right? Like you don't dislike him as a character, but I don't think he's anyone's like favorite character.
Right.
See, I fucking hate Derek, like in that show. I'm gonna say Lydia.
It's funny because I'm gonna guess that's his third.
I'm gonna say Lydia. So I say Styles, Peter, and Lydia. Those are my 3.
Okay.
He outright guessed what Lydia was.
Yeah.
I mean, it took me several guesses, but Styles is right. You know, thinking on it, I do kind of like Peter.
And the truth shall set you free.
I like how.
I told you I thought he was a great villain.
Yes. He is a great manipulator, I feel. He is like what Lex Luthor would be in Smallville.
And this is only season 3.
Yeah. As far as my third, I was told by Donnie that I would be meeting my favorite character this season. I have not met them yet, but it is not Lydia. I will give you Peter for that one. But my third favorite so far, I think, is Erica, even though, I mean, she died real quick.
Purely because she's hot.
Yeah, 100%. Like before she was even turned, I was like, I saw her and she just had like crazy ass hair. I was like, oh, I like her already. So.
Yeah. I don't know. Melina is the one we think that he'll end up liking.
Actually, you know what? Other than Erica, I really like the vet.
Yeah. He's a likable character.
Yeah, the vet's kind of the vet's a really interesting character too.
Yeah. It took me a while to connect the dots that he was the priest from The Walking Dead. I was like, I know him from somewhere. It's the voice, I think. I don't know what it is. Then I realized. Yeah, was I not supposed to know what Lydia was as fast as I guessed it? I guess I don't know. I don't
think I got it yet, but I don't know if we didn't give you hints or something.
Well, he found out already. Like you would have found out already because what's her face called her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean you knew a little earlier. I think it was this season that you figured it out. I don't think it was season 2, or maybe it was.
It was the season 2 because Jackson was still the fucking creepy crawly.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently my favorite character is going to be some Were-Coyote thing, girl.
My favorite.
No, she's legit.
Yeah, she's one of my favorites.
Yeah, she is.
Mine are Styles, Lydia, and Liam are my 3 favorite.
Nice.
I like Isaac a lot.
I don't think anyone.
I kind of like
Isaac.
I
don't think anyone likes
him yet.
Fuck Derek.
Derek?
I mean,
I like Derek because he has to make the hard decisions and the hard plays. I I can understand that.
But I don't like him because he has to make the hard decisions in the hard plays, but I feel like he whines about having to make the hard decisions in the hard plays all the time.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, okay.
Like,
I mean, I can't say I wouldn't whine, but at the same time.
No, I mean, like it works if you have, you can play that card if, like, you're like, no, I'm an asshole because I have to make that. But whining about the fact that you're an asshole because you have to make the hard decisions all the time is not the same. He's very whiny. Very, very whiny. I get it, but he's very whiny. Which is why I can't take him as Superman seriously.
Yeah, I can't. I'll always picture him as Derek before Superman.
And see, that's funny because I only knew him as like the new Superman from like Supergirl and stuff before I started watching Teen Wolf. So now every time he comes on screen and does something, I'm like, oh yeah.
Have you also watched the new Superman show? Or
I have not.
Have you also watched the new Superman? Me either. I don't really care to, but
I'm tempted to see what it's like.
I'm more likely to start watching that than I am to watch Supergirl. I gave it a shot.
I'm here. I'll be honest with you. The first season of Supergirl is rough.
I didn't like that they were just pushing social agenda like every fucking episode.
The first season is super preachy.
I think the second episode, the second season, I think was my favorite so far.
The second season definitely gets better. It gets better once it moves to CW because the first season was on CBS, I think, or NBC, one of the two. It was on like an actual major channel network, and they were just super like girl power pushing, that kind of thing.
I mean, I'm all for it, but good lord, you can only fucking throw it in somebody's face so many times before you get bored with it.
Yeah, no, it got to the point where it was just like. No,
and Sabrina was the opposite. The first season I thought was great, and the second season they started pushing everything again. I don't know how you all feel about it.
I agree. I think everybody agrees that the second season of Sabrina was like, well, I'm out. Eject button.
I don't know. Like, yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like, I like the shows for what they are, but they like they get too like they get too like obvious.
Preachy?
Yeah, too obvious with them shoving shit down your throat.
This is what I've been saying about. It was
the same with Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel, whatever the fuck it was.
Well, this is what I say about, especially about CW specifically. I don't want my social justice issues in the CW show.
Agreed.
Because CW handles those issues with about as much subtlety as someone slapping you with a frozen Christmas ham.
Yeah.
Like there's no subtlety when they do it. It's just you get slapped in the face with like a 20-pound turkey. You're just like, well, all right, now I don't want to be here. And I mean, it's like you get like a good director on like
you don't fuck the fair turkey.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
The only thing I'm going to say is sometimes people need to be slapped with a frozen ham or whatever it is.
Oh no! I agree. But also too, my arguing point is this, right? Like I think like Bill Burr says it best in his like comedy. He's like, look, I understand. He's like, we can all agree that hitting women is wrong, but we don't need like the fucking middle of the day somebody coming on TV being like, hitting women is wrong and you should feel bad for doing it. It's like, you really think the guy that's beating his wife at home going to be watching TV like, oh, honey, Oprah fucking said I shouldn't hit you. I'm sorry. Now I get it. Like, that's not going to happen, right? Like, if you're going to have like the sexist, racist assholes, 9 times out of 10, like watching a CW show ain't really gonna change their mind. Like, so it's just in my opinion,
their children or like it's not just them that needs the message. Sometimes like the women need the message too, that it's not okay that he's hitting you, or the children it's not okay that daddy hits mommy.
I get that, thing. But like realistically, like if you're a child that grows up in a household of watching, if you're a son that grows up watching, your father abuse your mother, and you're told that's what a man should do and everything like that. Like, again, you watching a CW show is not going to help that too much. I'm not saying I don't agree with like the message need to be there, but it at the same time, if you write the entire script of an episode and it's every episode based on to deliver like a powerful like message speech at the end. Like I felt like the first season of Supergirl was written so she could deliver her like 2-minute monologue at like the 18-minute mark in the episode on like why what's happening is wrong and why it needs to be better. Like I feel like that every single like the entirety of the script was built around that 2-minute monologue. And while I get that, I don't feel like you could build a show or a whole season off of that.
Well, I mean, back when I was younger, this like a show would have an entire episode dedicated to whatever they thought it was an issue at the time, whether it be bullying or just respecting people's choices. Right. You don't need a whole fucking show dedicated to it. Have your messages.
Well, not even just that. It was done in like creative ways. Like you look at like Saved by the Bell, you look at like Family Matters, Fresh Prince. Like they had those issues and they addressed issues like that.
You would see the problem and you would feel for the character rather than the character just saying
like this is what's going on and you should feel bad.
Right.
Like it's just a different thing. Like the whole like issue like Fresh Prince did it good. Like for instance, like me watching or like if I went back like 10 years later and watched Supergirl, right? Like I'm sitting there and I'm watching it. I'm like, okay, this whole this season 1 is an outlier for the whole show because it's just preachy. Where like if I'm watching like The Fresh Prince, like, or I'm watching Saved by the Bell or Full House, I'm watching these episodes, or like even Friends to an extent. Like I'm watching them and I'm watching the show and there's a message there, but they write it to the point where it fits into the show so perfectly. Where like if I'm binge watching it, it doesn't even like register in the fact that like, oh, that was like their PSA episode of the week. That was just another episode. That kind of thing. But like I feel like when I walk away from your show feeling like I just left like a TED Talk, I don't necessarily know if that's like how I want to feel watching entertainment TV. That's kind of my point. But I mean, other than that, like I do get what you're saying, Rob. Like like some people definitely do need that message to come across. But on the flip side, it's kind of like your show's coming on at 9:00 at night or 8:00 at night. 9 times out of 10, are the kids really going to be watching the show? Maybe, maybe not. What's your age demographic? What's your demographic? Like, are you really going to do that? So, are you going to spend an hour preaching to most of your audience for that, 10% or 15% that may need to hear it? Or are you going to focus on writing a script where you can actually write a script and write a character that's, all those things you're trying to preach against. Write a character that's like abusive or terrible or whatever, and just don't make them a likable character. And you can make it obvious that those traits are why they're not likable. So then you just develop a negative reaction to those traits, as opposed to it being such as, this person is bad because of this, and you need to feel bad. And you need to not like that person because of this. And it's like that, to me, it's not as effective as just a well-written character that has flaws, but you can like exemplify those flaws to show why they're not liked, or why you should not like that character. If that makes sense.
Now, I don't know where this fits in, but what if you have a likable character, like somebody who just everyone does seem to like them, but they're maybe not secretly, but I guess like behind the scenes they're kind of a douchebag, and not everybody sees that side of them. Because I mean that's a real life aspect too, I mean, look at like serial killers and things like that. Like everybody always says, oh, the neighbors, say, oh, they would be the last person I would think would be the serial killer. They're so nice, this, that, and the other thing. And but like, I understand what you're saying about like just making sure like on a show or whatever, like they have qualities that are unlikable, so that way people watching the show can see, oh, well, these qualities, they remind me of this person. That person's a douchebag or whatever. These are obviously very bad qualities, but aren't you kind of like hiding the fact that nice people can also have very bad qualities?
Well, no, I mean that's just a thing of like good character writing. Like, good characters should have flaws. Like, but a good character.
But I mean, at what point does a good character have a
wife.
flaw that makes them then a bad character? Like, not bad as in poorly written, but bad as in like they're not a good person. You know what I mean?
I mean that. Well, I can name one person right here that everyone in this call likes, or we all like a lot, but they're not a good person. Klaus is a wonderful person.
No, he is not.
He would do anything to save his daughter.
That does not make him a good person.
He is a terrible person. He has redeeming qualities, but he also has a lot of bad qualities. He's a terrible person, but he's a good written character, so you still feel something for him because of that. But in a vacuum, he's a terrible person.
Yeah.
Pretty much all of the Michelsons are terrible people. All the originals are terrible people, but we kind of like all of them. But they were all portrayed as they were the heroes of the show, but they're all terrible people.
What's the one sister who wasn't a vampire?
Oh, she still did some shit.
She did some terrible shit, dude.
Well, I don't know. Like what?
She murdered towns of people using magic.
Yeah, but they probably deserved it, right?
Yeah, the whole town probably deserved it.
Listen.
It's all a matter of perspective, and that's what entertainment is about. Rob, I swear to you, I don't mean to make you feel like I don't agree 100% wholeheartedly that things don't need to be out there. I just feel like in this current age, it's just all you see anymore. And coming from my life, I don't do it, I don't condone it, but I don't know what else I can do. Like, I'm not going to go kick in somebody else's door. So I just don't want to see it all the time. I respect the message.
Rob is muted. He is done with all of you.
Sorry.
Rab.
No, I said pretty much. Like, I also very much respect the message, and I am all for powerful messaging in movies and television. I don't look at CW as my avenue for I would to put this in perspective. I would expect a more delicate handling of social issues from an episode of Arthur than I would a CW show.
Another thing, and maybe this is just me getting older. Go ahead.
Like the cartoon Arthur.
Oh, I thought you meant something else.
No, I would expect more like a delicate handling of social issues from Arthur or the Magic School Bus than I would CW shows. CW shows are trashy, romantic shows that usually are just pointless. They're mindless teenage dramas. Don't get me wrong. Outside of a couple of shows, they're really mindless teenage dramas. You really could say Supernatural is also a mindless teenage drama to a degree, but it's not, right? But you could argue and say it is, right? But I mean, when they take the CW formula and then they try to get preachy with it, it just becomes for me, it becomes almost unbearable.
Lazy and dumbed down writing.
Yeah, that and that's what it ultimately it becomes. And the thing is, you can, if you need to dumb down your writing and you need to laze up your writing to get a message across, that's fine. But when your writing is already CW caliber, yeah, you don't have a lot of ground to give up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I love it. Go ahead.
I guess I'm just confused as if you dislike it so much. Why watch several seasons of it? I don't.
Well, no,
get it.
I don't.
Well, I don't. That's the thing. I stopped watching Supergirl a while ago. I liked the show. I watched the first season. I was eh, I didn't like it that much, but then I watched the second season. I was like, okay, this is a little bit better. And then I watched the third season. I watched all the Supergirl. I did eventually drop Supergirl. I was just like, I just stopped caring. Because honestly, my issue with Supergirl at the later seasons was they just had really shitty villains. And I didn't like any of the villains, really. I'm like, there's really no compelling, like, all the recurring villains in Supergirl, to me, weren't really compelling villains. Like, I didn't care about them enough to be, like, recurring. And then you look at but, like, I didn't stop watching Supergirl because it got, like, too preachy. I do agree the first season was unwatchably preachy. That I do agree. But I didn't stop watching the show because I stopped watching the show for other reasons. But, like, I look at a show like Legacies or whatever. Like, Legacies gets a little preachy here and there, but overall, it's still it still remembers it's an entertainment show, and it still goes back to that. And so it's watchable. Like, and don't get me wrong, like, I laugh, like, and I always tell people this, like, CW is, like, very lowbrow in general, but at the same time, it's entertaining, right? It's like lowbrow. It's almost soap opera-esque at times, right? And that's not really it's a bad thing, but it's not really a bad thing. But it's okay to like that kind of stuff. Like, I'm totally okay admitting, like, yeah, like, I like CW shows. Like, I have no problem with that. Like, but I am also I guess I'm not too proud to admit the fact if people are like, yo, CW is trash. I'll be like, no, it really is. But it's entertaining trash, like, to me, right? Like, but if you're like, dude, CW is like some of the worst written shows. Like, almost every show follows a formula, and you can, like, follow the formula from, like, episode to episode. And I'm like, you know what? You're kind of right. They have, like, 5 or 6 different, like, formulas that they spit out for various shows, and then they just sprinkle in, like, cliffhangers and things here and there to, like, make it so slightly different. But the formulas are pretty much the same, right? And I'm like, you could totally point that out, and that's a valid criticism, and I understand what you're saying. But either way, I still like the show. I still like it. But no, like, in terms of I'm not watch. Like, I don't want you to think like I watch a show and I'm like, oh, this is preachy garbage, and then I'm like, I'm gonna watch it every week. Like, if it's got to a point where, like, it was unbearable, like, Supergirl, I gave the whole chance. I'm like, okay, because this is, like, its first season. I will usually tough out our show's first season to see kind of, like, if it finds its footing. So it's like, I watched the first season, I was like, all right. I wasn't, like, it got better at the end. I wasn't, like, super impressed, but it got better at the end. And then the second season popped up, and I was like, all right, I watched that. And I was like, okay, this is much better. This is much, much better. But, like, to give you an idea, as preachy as Supergirl was in season 1, I probably hate the last, like, 2 seasons of Arrow more. Because
I haven't even made it that far yet. I don't know why I stopped watching that.
Arrow should have ended, like, 3 seasons ago because, well, also, they just kept trying to turn Arrow into Batman because they couldn't get the rights to Batman, so they just kept trying to turn him into Batman. Which, I mean, Green Arrow is not Batman, but they just kept trying to turn him into Batman. Like, why does Green Arrow have anything to do with Ra's al Ghul? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just because they couldn't get the rights to Batman. That's the only reason why. So they're just like, we just need someone who's a regular guy who has money, or whatever. And we're just gonna make him Batman. So they just start throwing Batman villains at Green Arrow and just wrote him like he was Batman. And then, like, okay, that's fine to a degree. And then after a while, I'm just like, you know what? Like, this show is actually, like, getting really bad.
Well, I always kind of hoped that they'd give the kid in Gotham time to grow up and have it go into the early days of, like, Batman when he was getting used to it.
I mean, isn't there a new Dark Knight movie or show coming out?
Is there?
It's not with him though, but it is a new Dark Knight TV show, I think. But yeah, Rob, like, no, I'm not, like, watching a show like to shit on it.
I don't know. I mean, I like both Supergirl and Sabrina, and I never felt that they were preachy in the slightest. So that's why I don't know. I guess we have different opinions about what's something constitutes being preachy. I guess I don't know.
Well, I've always tried to explain how I feel. Like, I will watch a show where I'll roleplay or I'll play a video game to escape the world because the world sucks. Yes, I do need to be reminded this thing's going on, but when a show is constantly making me feel bad, I typically will stop watching it. Like, I do it for an escape, and that's just a personal thing. I absolutely respect the message.
But like, why is it making you? I don't understand why it's making you feel bad to watch a TV show. Like,
seeing people be persecuted because they believe differently or live a lifestyle differently, that I don't like that. I don't like seeing it. I don't like it happening. And I don't need to be reminded that it's happening because I know it is. So it's just like I'm watching this and getting bothered by it.
But the superheroes come along and fix it. That's I don't know.
What?
I guess I'm
Okay,
just. I don't get it.
I'll put it this way: preachy is probably the wrong word. Specifically, I hate it when shows' messages get ham-fisted. That's the part that kills me. And CW does not handle delicate messages gracefully. Like, I look at Black Lightning. That show for me, the first season was unbearable because it just basically boiled down. Every episode was white man is bad, and black man is good. And I'm like, I don't like, or it's like white man bad, fight the power, and that's literally the whole first season of that show. And every episode is if there was a white person on screen in that show, they were the bad person. And I'm like, I get what you're doing, I understand it, but there's no subtlety here. And then like they even casted the first, like the main villain in Black Lightning was
the albino guy? Yep.
An albino black man who hates other black people. And I'm like,
what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I get what you're doing. I understand it. I even like him as a villain. I get it. But at the same time, it's like, even as me as a black man, I'm like, this is like, it's too ham-fisted. There's no subtlety here. You're trying to take a problem that requires surgical precision and using a shotgun. And I'm like, that's not how you do it. Like, because what's going to happen is you're going to polarize the entirety of the audience to where your message will only get watched by people who agree with it anyway. So you're not really doing any benefits. You're just creating an echo chamber. Or you're going to get people who just hate on the show for the sole reason of it preaches a counter message, but it doesn't really, because you're not really offering up a discussion point while giving a message. You're just giving the message and being, this is the message.
See, but you don't like that side of things, yet you'll watch shows like that one with the stupid platform that went up and down. Shows like that are always like, oh, look at how terrible humanity is and how they'll treat each other when they're left to their own devices. Like, that's why I don't like shows like that, because it shows that side constantly, and they're just like, oh, humanity's terrible to each other, and they're just going to keep doing it no matter what their choices are.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I feel like that's not... I guess I feel like that's two unrelated things to a degree. Like, I know what you're saying, but, like, I feel like...
I'm just saying that, to me, that side seems pretty kind of preachy. Like, they're always like, oh, humans are always terrible to each other.
Well,
no one's ever good.
See, for me, I guess for me, that movie, like, to use the platform as an example, right? If you want to spend the time to break that down, you can. If you don't, you can just watch it as a movie that's needlessly violent and ignorant, or whatever, and either enjoy it or not as that movie. But like when something is done with no subtlety, there's really no other way to view it. It's just, it is what it is at that point. So like, if you don't want to sit down and watch the platform and be like, well, humanity is being awful to each other, and just view it as just a bunch of shitty people in a fucking tower being shitty to each other, you can just view it that way. Like, that's totally fine. A bunch of shitty people being shitty. And at that point, you're like, well, that's a pretty shitty movie. And I'll be like, fair, that's a shitty movie. You have shitty people being shitty to each other, and the result is a shitty movie. Like, you can completely do that. But if you sit down and you're like, well, you can sit down and take the time to analyze it and be like, well, this is, you could say this is the class system. The people on the people higher up than you will always have more than you, and they're always going to do whatever they can to make sure you don't get on their level and keep them, and keep people below them down. You can break it down like that.
How is that ever meant?
No, I'm just saying you can. No, I'm saying you can break it down like that if you want to, but that's your choice. You don't have to do that. My point is, I'm saying like when stuff gets like ham-fistedly preachy, you're not giving me the option of exploring something. You're literally giving me something serving me something in front of on my TV saying, this is bad. This is the only way to go about this, and you need to do something about it. And that's it. Like, for instance, like they're literally okay. So they give you the first there's a couple episodes in Supergirl in the first season that are literally just like you boil the entire episode down to men bad, women good. And I'm like, I understand what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but like going back to like the Black Lightning thing, where like white men bad, black people good, right? Like I get what you're saying, but it's not that simple. Like it's really not that simple. So when you dumb it down and ham-fist it down, you're doing more harm than good because you're taking something that is a delicate topic in a delicate situation and you're making it super just in your face because you need it to fit a narrative. You're not really handling it with any surgical precision. Like for instance, if I was gonna better write like the whole like Black Lightning thing, you really wanna flip the whole like albino character, make the first like to make it more intricate, make the main bad guy a black guy who make him like the mayor, and he's buying up property, but realistically what he's doing is he's selling it. If you want to do like the whole like white man trying to keep the black guy down or whatever, he's buying up property in black neighborhoods, being like the face, like all smiling, super happy. But on the flip side, he's selling or he's buying it on behalf of another white man's company, and then they're secretly trying to like jack up the prices to like push people out of neighborhoods so they can gentrify the neighborhood or whatever. You can do it like that. But some people don't want that because that is a little too real. But at the same time, you know what I mean? Like you can make it more intricate and make the character themselves more interesting, and it's not just, oh, this is a white guy and he doesn't like black people, so he's bad. Or, oh, this is a black guy who doesn't like black people, so he's bad. And yeah, like you can break it down into something that's way more complicated than that, or you can take it at its most simplest form and try to make it fit into a narrative. But if you take something in its most simplest form and try to write a story around something super simple, you're going to get a super simple story. And that's kind of my point.
With that though is that like they're all villains of the week. Like how much time can they in an hour show take to show you the motivations of the villains?
They're villains of the week to a degree. I mean, there's still the overarching plot of like the season, and like so the villain I'm talking about, Black Lightning, like he's a recurring villain for multiple seasons. But his only real motivation is he is a albino white guy who, if I'm not mistaken, like he was teased when he was younger, but also on top of that, he just feels that he was successful and the greater black community is not successful, so people look down on him because he's a part of that community. And I'm like, I get what you're saying, but no. Like, I get what you're saying, but that's not the way to go about it. Like, for that to be the motivation of you being a villain, like, that's not the same thing. Like, that's not a good villain motivation. And for you to be a continuing villain. So I'm not saying, like, you have Supergirl and, her preaching, like, girl power is a bad thing. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying...
It sounds like you're saying...
No, you're going to an extreme with something. I'm simply saying it's being forced into your face too often, and I feel like that's what Devin is saying too.
Yeah, exactly. I'm saying when it's boiled down to its most simple.
If you feel that way, why are you continuing to watch it? I don't.
Well, Rob, like I said to you, I only said that I feel the first season was like that. I feel every other season after that with Supergirl has been pretty like focused on just the content itself, and it still has had that overarching message of girl power and facing social issues. But I really feel like the first season was like the most ham-fisted way in there. Where like there were literally lines in there. It's like, they would have characters throwing lines. It's like, you can't do that because you're a woman. Like what year are we in? Like there were literally lines in the first season where like the villains like the villain's like getting beat up, and he's like, "You can't beat me. You're not stronger than me. You're a woman." And I'm like, "All right." Like, that was your dialogue you put there for an intelligent guy who's like an intelligent person who like has been shown in previous scenes of having like an IQ over like 5. That was the dialogue we went with there. It was just you can't beat me because you're a woman.
Lazy and dumbed down writing to try to deliver a message is bad.
That's my only point. Like the oversimplifying like and dumbing down the writing to do it to like make a point, and then doing that week in and week out creates a really weak product, in my opinion, that doesn't do what you want it to do. But if you take something and then you space it out and you give it like an actual like give me a storyline. Give me a storyline of like Supergirl being shit on because she's a woman, or like Kara being shit on, or like Supergirl and Kara both being shit on because she's a woman. Like she's trying to go save something or try to go do something, or like there's another like hero in town or whatever, and there's another hero in town. Give me like a multi-episode thing, or even a one-episode thing where like he keeps she saves the day, or he does all she does all the stuff, but the press keeps covering him. Like the press keeps covering, he's the one doing all the stuff, or he saves like a cat out of a tree, and he gets front page.
Well,
she saves the world, and she's on page 3.
I mean, like, to be fair, that's kind of the whole story with Supergirl too, is because by the time she comes to age and has those powers, Superman's already existed.
Well, right.
And so she's essentially trying to step out of his shadow.
Right. No, I get that point. I get that point, but no, I'm saying like if you want to give like a little more like intricate to like the saying like, hey, equality is a thing, like gender equality is a thing. You could very easily, very, very, very easily, instead of just being like giving villains one-liners like you can't beat me because you're a girl, like be like, well, hey, have her get it on both ends, have her being passed up for like articles, and have her being passed up because she's a woman. Or have her articles being shot down because she's a woman, and then have also where like her heroic exploits within her own city that she's kind of that she's protecting. Now that Superman's not even in the picture, her she saves a a plane from crashing into a building, and this other like local bullcrap hero saves like one person or saves a fucking cat out of a tree and ends up on the front page and gets interviewed and gets screen time, and she's just kind of like pushed to page 3, and it's just like, and show that frustration, so kind of like, yeah, how she's working 3 times harder for less recognition. And you can easily do that and make it more of a storyline that becomes something that's like, hey, I'm invested in this. This is actually like, I get the point. I get what they're doing. And I just feel that at the end of the day, that message becomes more impactful than just, the ham-fisted in your face, like this bad, this good. And it becomes more like our natural realization of like, oh yeah, this is bad, as opposed to being told to do something. Just like if you like you're in school, like I can give you the answer to the question, but then you can't answer it on the test. But I can show you how to get to the answer for the question, and then you can answer it on the test. So like if I'm sitting in front of the TV and you're like, okay, you're trying to you're trying to explain to like you mentioned earlier, like dealing with kids. You're trying to like have a kids watching this for like for their message. Well, you can tell the kid like, hey, gender equality is gender. All genders are equal. You can tell them that 1,000 times, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to stick. But if you show them through, an actual like something that they're invested in, you show them that you can, even week in and week out, even if it's still end of the week, you can show them that hey, all genders are equal. Women can do everything that a man can do, a woman can do it too. You can show them that, and show them and let them come to that conclusion on their own, but being guided by the show and not just being told by the show. They would have that. I think will sit a lot more impactful with them in general. That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, I just don't agree with like, don't devote an hour of a show to just getting in rapid fire ham-fisted punches on an issue, on any issue, whether it's gender equality, whether it's, sexual orientation, no matter what it is, like, race equality, whatever it is. Don't do that. I'd rather you not even take the long game, but just take a more methodical approach and approach it where it's going to actually be impactful. It's going to mean something. Because you can get punched 100 times, but if those punches have nothing behind them, it's not going to hurt you. But if you get hit one or two good times, but they actually have some oomph behind them, you're going to feel them. You're going to be like, oh, okay, I understand now. I get that. Like, you can touch a stove 100 times, but if it's not on, it's not going to matter. You touch a stove one time and it's in a 500-degree stove, you're going to feel that shit. You're going to be like, oh, wait, that's hot. Yeah, let's not do that again. So I feel like it's just a matter of one impactful message versus just being told 1,000 times that this is bad. And I feel like even statistically, you're going to do better off coming to a conclusion yourself or being invested in something and then coming to a conclusion at the end. It's almost going to feel like you're doing work, but it's going to feel like you're doing work. But if you're entertaining along the way, hey, I'm not really doing that work, right? But if you're just watching something and you're just being told over and over and over and over and over again that this is what this is or this is what this is, I feel like you're either going to do like what you're doing and you're going to be like, okay, cool, I agree with the message, I'm down with this, let's just watch the show, right? Or you're going to be like, well, this is I understand what you're telling me, I already get that, I understand that message, but now it's sticking out like a sore thumb, and it's all I'm seeing in the show now. I don't need to sit through this for, 3 hours of my day. I get off work, I come home, like what Donnie's saying. I get off work, I come home, I crack open a beer, or I sit down in front of the TV. I just want to watch something that, yeah, you can have a mess in your show, that's fine, but I want to watch something that helps me relax from that day. I don't need to come home and sit in front of the TV and get beat over the head with, messages of virtue and everything else. I don't need that in such a heavy-handed way.
Rob, you were muted during that comment.
I know. I said, so then don't watch it.
Rob, I understand I understand what you're saying by saying don't watch it, but I feel like you're missing the point where
he walked away from.
I guess that's fine. I just feel like he's missing the point where I didn't stop watching Supergirl because of that, or really any show because of that. Some shows, yeah, like Sabrina. I didn't love the first season of Sabrina. I didn't hate the show. It was fine. I watched it. I was like, okay. The second season, I was like, okay, this is going in one of those directions. That's fine. I stuck with it for a while. Then after that, it just kind of fell off. I didn't make a conscious decision to stop watching the show. I just didn't really I stopped watching it to go do something else, and then I just didn't re-pick it back up. But I'm not saying you have to keep watching the show because of that. I understand your point, Rob. Yeah, if you don't like it, don't watch it. I get that. But I guess at no point did I say that wasn't the solution to the problem, is to not watch it. But on the same hand, I'm also saying that I think creators need to also kind of be more in tune with what they're putting out and not just doing it. Because again, your whole solution is don't watch it. Well, the issue is, let's say it's a good show. It's a really good show. But they're just overdoing their messages.
It's a good show and a good platform for the message. It's like I said, it's lazy and oversimplified messages being sent.
In my opinion, with
or not messages, I'm sorry, writing.
Well, this is my thing, right? It was lazy. When you get lazy, oversimplified writing, that ends up with the delivery of kind of lazy and oversimplified messages. You're going to end up polarizing your audience, which some people, Rob may be like, that's fine. I don't care. If you don't agree with the message, I don't want you watching the show anyway. But then you're going to get shows that are going to get canceled that don't necessarily deserve to be canceled. They're good shows, but it's just, you're going to polarize that audience. So if you're going to get to a point where people even feel some type of way, slightly different about the message, they're just going to tune out completely. They're going to completely tune out of the show, and then you're not going to watch it. Whereas if you handle it masterfully, like you can sit down and watch, like you could sit down and watch something you don't necessarily agree with if it's done in the right way, right? Like you could sit down and watch something and be like, okay, like, I don't like this, and this about the show, but they do this as like I can look at it objectively. But when it's something is so heavy-handed and just in your face, you don't even want to take the time to sit down and try to find the good and analyze it. So you just turn it off and go, I'm done with this. So let's say there's, out of every 100 people, there's 30 people who agree with the message, 30 people who don't agree with the message to begin with, so they're never going to watch it. And then there's, 40 people who could be won over. The issue is the issue is going to be with those 40 people who could be won over, right? If they can sit down, if they're like Donnie or even myself, who like, yeah, I don't need this force fed down my throat every single episode.
Like I already agree with it. I just don't want to.
Exactly. I just don't need a force fed down my throat. Like, so I'm going to turn this off and not watch it. Whereas if it was done in such a way where it's not like that, I harken back to shows like I said, like Full House or Family Matters or whatever. Shows like that handled those issues, but they did it with even like being different episodes every week. They handled those issues, but they wrote them with subtlety and wrote them in a way where there was a message at the end of the episode or even during the episode, but it was a payoff, and it was a journey during the episode, and it wasn't just this kind of just like in your face kind of thing. You had more retention. That's my only complaint. Like I understand I completely agree with what you're saying. If you don't like a show, if you don't agree with the message of a show, don't watch the show. But I feel like there also needs to be some of the blame laid at the feet of the people making the show, and just being like, well, look, if the complaint is the message, maybe you should look at how you're delivering the message. I'm not saying don't deliver the message. I'm saying look at how you're delivering them. Because if it's super simplified and super cheesy and super just in your face, that is, if you're insulting people's intelligence with the message, people are not going to stay tuned in. That's the best way to put it. Like, if nobody's going to stick around and get their intelligence insulted. It's like hitting women is bad. Like, yeah, hitting women is bad. I absolutely agree. But I don't need like a freeze frame dead look, like, and this is something like CW, like they hadn't done it, but this is almost like what it's like sometimes, where like something will happen and they'll like freeze frame, look in the camera and be like, hey, you sitting at home, hitting women is bad. And then they'll go back to the action and you're like, what? Like, it's with how like their dialogue is, it's almost like that bad sometimes, where they'll take a message and do that. Or like they'll, or hey, all genders are equal. Or hey, LGBTQ rights matter. And I'm like, yeah, they do. I agree. 100% I agree. 1,000% I agree. But like, why are you interrupting like a dialogue scene to like input dialogue with that one specific agenda when it didn't need to be there? Like, you could have done this better. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's all I'm saying. Like, but that's it. At no point am I saying I don't agree with any of the messages being said. I'm just saying, like, I feel like the delivery of said message could be better.
All right, then.
Okay.
And now Rob's all mad.
Nope.
That's a yep.
Well, I mean, we're at that hour and 15-minute mark.
Now Webby's all awkward.
It's not so much awkward as it is, I did not expect the time to go by as fast as it did.
No, you're awkward because you hear all the stuff Rob's saying when he's muted.
I only said that one thing that he made me tell you anyway.
Yeah. I don't know. The only awkwardness that I have is it's like It's like talking politics. It's just one of those
Yeah,
things.
politics, religion.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah,
I
no,
get
I mean,
it.
no, yeah. Honestly, like the only reason why I'm not being awkward about anything is because I just feel like we all agree on a point. It's just we just agree on two different things on the same point. Like Rob is just like, if you don't agree with the message, don't watch the show. And I'm just like, well, yeah, I agree with you. You shouldn't watch the show if you don't agree with the message. But I also feel like the message should be done in a way that's more openly accessible for all members, all audiences.
Oops, I'm knocking shit over.
Like there you go, and I think that's kind of like what Donnie's saying too. Like I just feel like if you're going to deliver, if you're going to get in a soapbox, just do it right. That's it. Like that's it. If you're going to deliver a message, I feel like you should do it. You should pay it. You should put the time in to deliver it correctly, because all you're going to do if you don't is just waste time. In my opinion, I feel like if you're going to deliver a message, you're going to take a fight. You take that fight and you take it seriously and you take it and you do it. You don't just do it so you don't get canceled by Twitter. Like I hate when I see a show that just inputs a message in because it's a current event and they want to be like, oh, hey, look, we touched on this. Hey, we're cool. Like, that's not what I don't want to see that in a show. I want to see it actually like integrated and have a plot and be like, okay, we actually took the care and the time to think this through. And we're integrating this appropriately. For instance, my favorite character in Supergirl. Take a guess who my favorite character in Supergirl is.
The kid whose father's the toy maker guy.
No.
Okay. Cat Grant.
No.
The Martian Man.
My favorite character in Supergirl is Nia.
Is who?
Nia.
I don't know who that is.
Nia Null, Dreamer. I like her entire story.
Yeah.
I like her entire story that they had for her in the first season. Her interaction with Brainy. I love her storyline. I feel like they did that storyline. They did it subtly and they did it well. And it fleshed out her character and made me care about her character. Completely, 100%. And I think if she came along in season 1 of Supergirl, it would have been a disaster, in my personal opinion, because of how they were writing Supergirl in season 1.
Yeah.
But I feel like how they handled her being transgendered and everything else in that show, I feel like they handled it perfectly. Like, involving her character. I actually loved her character from the beginning. I loved her character all the way through. All the episodes that focus her, I'm like, yes, wonderful episodes. Very much do not think that would have been the case in season 1 with how they were writing Supergirl in season 1. And that's that. Like, that's just how I personally feel about that. But yeah.
Well, I think that's a good part to wrap up on if anybody else has anything for closing thoughts on that.
I love everybody.
If it ain't
Yeah, no,
broke,
pretty much.
don't fix it. Leave the goddamn Fantastic Four franchise alone.
As in, don't ever make another one again.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't broke, and you kept trying to fix it, and now it's really broke. It's really, really broke.
I will tell you,
And
it
you
wasn't
don't
my
need that.
favorite. Like, when they remade it the first time, with, like, Jessica Alba as Invisible Woman, whatever.
Well, that wasn't the remake. That
It
was the
wasn't a
original.
terrible movie. Like, I enjoyed it. It was
Scalper was
whatever.
naked. It's a great movie.
But then they tried to build upon it, and it just kind of got worse. And then they're like, oh, let's just completely redo it. Let's make Johnny Storm black. Let's make the Thing look like a weird orange sponge. And I was just like, wow, okay. You really changed things up on this one. Didn't even bother watching that one.
My biggest complaint about that one, believe it or not, in a superhero movie, I shit you not, there is one fight scene in that entire movie. They fight Doctor Doom. It is the last, I want to say, 15 minutes of that movie.
Of the newest remake one?
Yes.
I haven't seen it, so...
It is pretty bad. It's very bad. It's not great. I don't like it.
Well,
I really think the other one actually is pretty solid though. Like the first one that
yeah,
the
the very,
first
very
one that really
first
popped
one.
out,
Yeah,
not bad. Even the second one with Rise of the Silver Surfer, not that bad. Like not
Yeah.
great, but not bad. When they rebooted it again though, I can't do it.
I know
I
Disney
can't do
Plus
it.
is in talks about trying to make a new one and trying to do right by 'em.
That's fine. You know, I really feel like if they're gonna
Give
do
it to
that,
Marvel; they'll fix it.
just make a show, and see
That's honestly, I
and see
think
how
what
that
they
goes.
should do is just make it like
Make a show and see how it goes. And see how it goes.
Yep.
And if it turns out good, hey, you know what? We're gonna give them a what you call it. If it doesn't,
Because at least with a show, they can take
Yeah.
their time. You know what I
Yes.
mean? They don't have to rush things into a 2-hour block.
I mean, because Doctor Doom is one of my favorite characters in Marvel. Like I love Doctor Doom. His character, he's awesome. His motives are pretty awesome, but at the same time, the only thing I liked about him in the first movie was he was played by Cole from Charmed.
Yep.
Speaking of which, the new Suicide Squad movie. I know we had talked about it previously, and it was kind of like hinted at, but it has now been confirmed that Nathan Fillion is playing Arms Fall Off Boy, or Detachable Limb Man, or whatever the fuck.
Arms Fall Off Boy.
Dude, no, Donnie, have you ever seen Arms Fall Off Boy?
No.
Yeah, that's his superpower.
Literally.
He can remove his
Hold
arms.
Hold on. I'm going to show you the
Yeah.
original panel of when Arms Fall Off Boy.
Now he goes by something else though. It's like Detachable
No.
Limb Person or something.
His name is legitimately Arms Fall Off Boy.
I'm just saying, in Suicide Squad, they call him something else.
Yeah, because the character's a fucking meme.
Yeah.
Here you go, Donnie, in dumbass chat. Here you go. Boom.
I just
That is
realized we're not using
that is
Craig.
the
Thankfully,
that is the
my recording's
illustrious
still going.
Arms Fall Off Boy.
Yep. He is the character that everyone, there used to, at least my parents used to say, I will rip out your tongue and beat you with the bloody end of it. It's essentially that. I will rip off my arm and beat you with the bloody end of it. But with that being said, we're going to wrap up the episode here because we're hitting the almost hour and a half mark. Rob, do you have a science corner? You're muted, but I heard the no. You don't have anything off the top of your head?
I feel like Rob is very dejected. I feel like Rob is very dejected.
I don't know what you did to him, Devin. You broke him.
I don't know. I don't know what I did to him.
Do we have a life advice with Devin?
I told you, Webby, like I need to stop doing things because I just like I fuck everything up.
A touchy subject. That being said, I love everybody, and I didn't mean to upset anyone with anything I said, so I'm sorry if I did.
Same. Yeah, I mean, I guess I got some life advice here. There you go. Simple, but I think it works for everybody out there, and somebody somewhere needs to hear it. Find joy in everything you choose to do. Every job, relationship, home. It's your responsibility to love it or change it. There you go.
At first, I thought you said find Joey in everything that you do, and I was like from Friends.
I thought it was a Friends thing too.
It's kind of like find Jesus, except it's just find Joey.
It's like find your inner Joey, no matter what you're doing.
I mean, that could also be that could also be good life advice. Just find your inner Joey. So Rob, find your inner Joey.
All right, Rob. If you do not have a science corner with Rob, can you give me one of your favorite quotes from Joey from Friends? Well, all right. Rob is gone for the remainder of the SU episode.
Why is he gone?
He is muted. He is not talking.
What? Seriously,
So,
what happened, Rob?
but with that being said, find your inner Joey. Devin, where can people find you on the internet?
You guys find me on Twitter at DP_Pookie and on Twitch at MrD3. And as always, you can find me on eBay, apparently ruining friendships.
Donnie, are you found anywhere on the internet for people?
Yes, you can find me at Jack's Forest Walker. All one word.
Just stop using mine. Use anyone else's but mine.
But my friends are your friends.
Listen.
Huh?
All right, Rob. Do you want to tell everybody where you can be followed at? Nope. Okay. All right. Well, everybody, you can follow me at Jack's Forest Walker, all one word, and on Twitter and on Twitch at DM Webby. And yeah, that's about it. So until next time, everybody, fuck Booster Gold.
Or Booster Gold.
It's very odd outro.
Why is it